Hello spooky people, it's Lilith and welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be sharing with you how I made this Cybercore costume. The fabric for the bodysuit and arm warmers came from this large polo shirt that I thrifted for a few bucks. This bodysuit that fits me well made a great pattern. I added extra fabric as a seam allowance. I use a basic folded over hem on everything. I made these triangle cutouts on the back from an old bag. Here are the arm warmers cut out. In the back I do cutouts where the elbows go. For the plates of the armor, I dropped these different shapes in Procreate. Towards the end of the video, I'll show you some of the cyber armor that inspired mine. The different colors represent different layers of the plate armor. If anyone's interested in using these designs, just let me know, I'm happy to share them. I save each layer as a PNG, that way I can upload it to cut in my Cricut machine. I gotta say that the Cricut really came in clutch for this project. You could still do this without a Cricut, it would just take a little bit longer to do it by hand. I actually had to do some cutting by hand for this as well. The thickest foam that this machine can cut through is 2mm, and the thinnest one that I had was 4. It was still really helpful to have the designs etched into the foam, that way I knew where to cut the rest of the way. This whole project came together in 2 days with mostly stuff that I already had. If I had some more time for planning, I probably would have just ran out and grabbed the right kind of foam. Here you can see me cutting out the rest of the way through the foam. You can't really tell on camera, but I can see pretty easily in person where the machine left its mark. If you were going to try to attempt something like this without a Cricut and doing it all by hand, I would definitely recommend using a ruler for any of your straight cuts. I know this kind of goes without being said, but I'm going to say it anyway. Please be careful if you're going to use an X-Acto blade or a box cutter for your craft projects. Let's save the blood and gore for the horror movies, okay? In the designs for the armor, there's several curved edges. For these, I go ahead and I take this small set of scissors to kind of get in there around that corner. Here I show how the armor is attached to the bodysuit and the other parts of the costume. This is like a industrial strength Velcro that I'm using to attach the foam armor to the costume. I put one side on the armor, one side on the fabric. The arm and leg bands aren't actually attached to the fabric, but they're on so tight that they don't slip down. The headset is made from some dollar store toys, this old headset that I had, as well as the fins from some foam and poster board. Really inexpensive and easy. I gotta say, this was my favorite part of the project overall. It was just really fun tinkering and figuring out which ways these pieces were gonna fit on the headset best. The packs that I used came from Dollar Tree, so they were probably about $1.25 each. And some of them worked better than others. I found that the ones that kind of had like a U shape to them fit around the headset really well and ended up being the most useful. Painting this bad boy up was so satisfying. Seeing all the different random pieces of colored plastic turn into one unified thing was just so perfect. Like I said before, this costume was on a hella time crunch, so I only did about 2 coats and then a clear coat. If I had some more time, I probably would have done like 3 or 4. With spray painting, it's always better to do thin coats and do more of them than to do less coats and then lay it on really thick. Just doesn't look as nice when you do it that way. Another thing I might have done if I had some more time was add a layer of Plasti Dip just to make these a bit more sturdy, just because the pieces are a little bit fragile. Just like any good costuming project, I fired up Pinterest for some inspiration. This picture is actually a part of a series and is the main inspiration for the aesthetic that I was going for with the all white and the text sort of elements. But here are some of the other pictures I was looking at. This one sort of inspired the pictures that I edited for this. And here at the end you can see some of like the mech elements that I incorporated into the armor and the headset. Overall, I'm really happy with how this turned out. There were a few other things I would have liked to add to it, other pieces of the armor, but just couldn't due to time constraints. This was an idea I had for a while. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that it inspires you to make your own cyber outfit or costume. If this is the kind of content that you enjoy, please consider subscribing. I've got more costume projects in the works right now.